asked for a kidney and a lie, I refused both. My name is Elena. I'm 34. I live outside Nashville in a neighborhood where the mornings are quiet and the family group chats are loud. My husband, Marco, is 36. Steady. Grounded. The kind of person who doesn't get dramatic, but he does get clear. Our son, Theo, is 8. And my brother, Derek, is 38. Charming. Quick. And very good at making his emergencies everyone else's responsibility. Derek's wife, Tanya, is 36. She's kind. She's organized. And she's the kind of person who has spent years cleaning up Derek's messes without calling them messes. Thanksgiving at my mom's house is a tradition. Same foods. Same seating. Same arguments about football. This year, I noticed Derek was different from the moment he walked in. Too quiet. Too focused. Like he had a plan and needed everyone to follow it. He hugged my mom too long. He barely looked at Tanya. And he kept checking his phone like he was waiting for permission to breathe. Then Theo told me the kidney sentence. I looked across the room and saw Derek watching me. Not like a brother. Like a negotiator. I crouched down in front of Theo and kept my voice gentle. Thank you for telling me, I said. You're not in trouble. Theo nodded, relieved. Then he whispered, Uncle said it's a secret. A secret? My chest tightened. I said softly, grown-up secrets aren't for kids. Okay. Theo nodded again and ran off to the living room. I stood up and walked toward the kitchen where Derek was pretending to help carve turkey. I didn't accuse him. I asked one calm question. Derek, I said, what did you tell Theo? Derek didn't flinch. He smiled like I was being sensitive. I told him you're a hero, he said. That you might help someone. Help someone. I stared at him. With my kidney, I said quietly. Derek's smile tightened. Not like that, he said. Then he lowered his voice. Just listen. Not here. Not here. Meaning, not in front of Tanya. I glanced at Tanya across the room. She was setting plates down, smiling politely, trying to keep the vibe normal. She didn't look like a woman who knew her husband was asking his sister for an organ. Derek leaned closer and whispered, After dinner, I'll explain. I nodded once. Okay, I said. And I meant it. I would listen. But I was also doing something else. I was watching. Because here's what I should have noticed earlier. People who are asking for a huge favor don't usually start with secrecy and pressure. Unless the favor is covering something. At the table, Derek kept controlling little moments. He jumped in to answer questions for Tanya. He cut her off mid-sentence twice. He poured her wine without asking, like he wanted her calm. And every time Tanya's eyes flicked to him like, what's going on? Derek would smile and squeeze her shoulder like he was reassuring her. It looked affectionate, but it felt managing. At 6:41 p.m., Derek texted me from across the table. Text, 6:41 p.m. Derek, after dessert, don't say anything in front of Tanya. Don't say anything. He said it like I was the threat. I didn't reply. I added it to kidney log. After dinner, while everyone was in the living room, Derek pulled me into the laundry room. The laundry room is where my family handles drama quietly, like quiet makes it cleaner. Derek closed the door and said, fast. Okay, here's the deal. I stayed calm. Go, I said. Derek swallowed. There's a woman I know, he said. She's sick. She needs a kidney, and you're the right blood type. A woman I know. I stared at him. Why do you know her? I asked. Derek hesitated. Then he said, It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's when my stomach dropped. Because it did matter. I asked, what's her name? Derek sighed like I was being difficult. Sloan, he said. Sloan. Not a friend I'd met. Not a coworker. Not a family friend. Just a name. I asked, why can't her family help? Derek's face tightened. They're not a match, he said quickly. And she doesn't have time. Then he leaned in and said the sentence that turned my blood cold. And Tanya can't find out, he whispered, because she'll ask why I care so much. I stared at him. Why do you care so much? I said. Derek looked away. Then he whispered, because I messed up. Messed up. My chest tightened. I said, slowly, is Sloan your affair partner? Derek's head snapped up. His eyes widened. Then he did what liars do when the truth is spoken too fast. He got angry. Don't say it like that, he hissed. That was my answer. Not no. Not shock denial. Just, don't say it. I felt my hands go cold. I kept my voice calm. You want me to donate my kidney, I said, to your affair partner, so your wife doesn't find out you cheated. Derek's eyes flashed. He said, it was a long time ago. Long time ago. Then he added, and she's not just that. She's a person. I nodded. I know she's a person, I said, and she deserves care. But you are asking me to use my body to cover your lie. Derek stepped closer. Please, he said, voice soft now. I'll owe you forever. Owe you forever. That phrase is manipulation in a pretty suit, because forever is not enforceable. Consequences are. I took a breath. I'm not agreeing to anything tonight, I said. And you never involve Theo in this again. Derek's jaw tightened. He just overheard, he muttered. I stared at him. He didn't overhear, I said. You told him. Derek looked annoyed, like my boundary was the problem. Then he said the line that made me realize this was going to get ugly. If you say no, he whispered, you're the reason she dies. I went cold, because that's the biggest guilt weapon. And it told me something about Derek's mindset. He wasn't looking for consent. He was looking for surrender. I opened the laundry room door. I said, calm voice, we'll talk later. Then I walked back into the living room, smiling for my kid. And I made the next small change. I checked my phone for anything Derek might have already scheduled. Because a man bold enough to ask for this is bold enough to move without permission. That night after we got home, I didn't cry. Not yet. I sat at my kitchen table with Marco and said, I need to tell you something and I need you to stay calm. Marco's face tightened. Okay, he said. I told him, the kidney request, the secrecy, the affair partner. Marco didn't yell. He went quiet in a way that told me he was thinking in steps. Then he said, Elena, your brother is not safe. Not safe. Not physically. Morally. Because anyone who can say, if you don't do this, you're the reason, is willing to weaponize guilt until you collapse. Marco asked one question. Did you say yes? He said. I shook my head. No, I whispered. Marco nodded once. Okay, he said. Then we treat this like a boundary and documentation situation, not like a family argument. Documentation. Yes. That was my anchor. I opened kidney log and wrote the most important parts. Not my feelings. Facts. Then, at 10:18 p.m., Derek texted me. Text 10:18 p.m. Derek. I found a transplant center that can do the testing fast. You just have to do the first screen. My stomach dropped. Because he'd already moved into scheduling mode. He wasn't waiting for my consent. He was assuming it. I replied with one sentence. Me, 10:20 p.m. Do not schedule anything under my name. Derek replied instantly. Derek. I didn't schedule, I'm just getting information. Information. But his tone wasn't informational. It was directive. At 6:02 a.m. the next morning, my phone buzzed. Email subject. Appointment reminder. Donor screening. My vision narrowed. Because I hadn't signed up for anything. I opened it. It was from a medical scheduling system. And it had my name. My email. A date and time. Thursday. 9:30 a.m. My stomach turned. Because Derek had done the thing I feared. He had moved into my systems. Not my work portal, but my identity. I didn't click anything else. I took a screenshot. Then I called the number in the email. I kept my voice calm. Hi, I said. I received an appointment reminder for donor screening. I did not schedule this. I need it canceled. The woman on the phone sounded careful. I can cancel it, she said, but I need to confirm you're the person on the appointment. I confirmed. Then I asked, who scheduled it? She paused. I can't disclose who requested it, she said, but I can tell you the contact number used. She read the number. It was Derek's. I felt cold. I asked her to note in the file that I did not consent and any future scheduling must come directly from me with verification. She said, understood. I hung up and wrote it in kidney log. Email appointment scheduled without consent. Contact number, Derek. Then I texted Derek. Me 7:19 a.m. You scheduled a donor screening under my name. Cancel anything else? Do not use my information again. Derek replied. Derek. I was trying to save time. You're making this about you. Making this about you. My brother was asking for my organ, and he was accusing me of being self-centered. I stared at my phone until my hands shook. Then I did the think move. I didn't argue. I asked one direct question. Me. Does Tanya know you're doing this? Derek didn't reply for 5 minutes. Then, Derek, do not involve Tanya. I'm warning you. Warning me. He said it like I was the problem. I screenshot it. Because threats belong in the file. That evening, Tanya called me. Just a normal sister-in-law call. Her voice was cheerful. Hey, she said. What are you bringing to Christmas? Christmas. Like, our family wasn't on fire. I swallowed hard. Because this is the part where you realize how innocent someone can be in a story that's already moving around them. I kept it neutral. I'm not sure yet, I said. How are you? Tanya sighed. I'm tired, she said. Derek's been weird lately. Weird. I closed my eyes. Tanya continued. He keeps saying we need to tighten budgets, but he's also stressed about something he won't explain. Tighten budgets. I thought about the donor screening email. I thought about medical systems and travel and logistics. And I realized Derek might be spending money in ways Tanya didn't see. So I checked my own bank alerts. Not because Derek could access them. Because I needed my body and finances protected. I froze my credit that night too. Because if Derek could schedule medical screening under my name, he could do other things. Here's what I should have noticed earlier. A person who's comfortable lying to a spouse will not feel guilty about lying to a system. The next morning, my mom called me. Not Derek. My mom. Mom call, Elena, please don't fight your brother right now. He's under stress. Under stress. That phrase again. Always the same. The person causing harm is under stress. The person setting boundaries is dramatic. I kept my voice calm. Mom, I said, did Derek tell you what he asked me? My mom hesitated. Then she said, he said you were being selfish. Selfish. I exhaled slowly. Mom, I said, he asked me to donate an organ to his affair partner so Tanya won't find out he cheated. Silence. Long silence. My mom finally whispered, he wouldn't. Wouldn't. Denial. I said, he did, and he scheduled a donor screening under my name. My mom started crying, not because she felt for me, because her reality was cracking. Then she said something that made me feel sick. Please don't ruin your brother's marriage, she whispered. Ruin his marriage. Not protect Tanya from a lie. Not protect you from pressure. Just keep it quiet. I stayed calm. I'm not ruining anything, I said. He did. Then my mom said, he's still your brother. That line, the line that asks you to swallow your own safety. I took a breath. Then he should act like it, I said. And I ended the call. That night, Derek showed up at my house. Unannounced. Because when he couldn't control me through text, he tried presence. I saw him through my doorbell camera. He was pacing on my porch like a man preparing a speech. Marco stood beside me and said, don't open. I didn't. I spoke through the doorbell speaker, calm voice. Derek, I said, leave. Derek leaned close to the camera. You're going to do this, he hissed. You owe me. Owe me. I stared at the screen and felt something click. This wasn't a request for help. This was an attempt to own me. And I knew the next step had to be decisive. Not a conversation. A truth. Because the only way to stop a secret like this is to stop protecting it. The next morning, I met Tanya for coffee. Not at my house. Not at hers. A public place near a grocery store where people keep their voices low. I didn't bring drama. I brought clarity. Tanya walked in smiling, then her face changed when she saw mine. What's wrong? She asked. I took a breath. Tanya, I said, I need to tell you something serious, and I need you to know I'm not doing this to hurt you. Tanya's eyes widened. She whispered, is Derek okay? I nodded slowly. Physically, yes, I said. But he's been asking me to do something, and he's been lying. Tanya's face tightened. What? She said. I didn't say mistress. Not first. I said it in steps. Derek asked me to donate a kidney, I said. Tanya blinked hard. Why? She whispered. I swallowed. For a woman named Sloane, I said. He said she needs a transplant. Tanya's hand started to shake. Who is she? She asked. I looked at her and said the clean truth. She's someone he was involved with, I said. And he asked me to do it so you wouldn't find out. Tanya went still, like her body had stopped trusting her brain. Then she whispered, no. I nodded, eyes wet. I'm sorry, I said. I have receipts. Receipts matter because shock makes memory foggy. I slid my phone across the table. Text 10:18 p.m. Derek. I found a transplant center. You just have to do the first screen. Email subject. Appointment reminder, donor screening. Contact number used. Derek's number. Text. Do not involve Tanya. I'm warning you. Tanya stared at the screen. Then she looked up at me, face pale. He threatened you, she whispered. I nodded. Yes, I said. Tanya's mouth opened, then shut. Then she whispered, he used our son. Our son. I froze. Because I hadn't said it, but yes, Tanya and Derek have a kid too. A toddler. And that made it even worse. Because Derek wasn't just risking a marriage. He was risking a family structure. Tanya's hands shook. She asked, did you agree? I shook my head. No, I said. And I reported the appointment as unauthorized. Tanya stared at me for a long moment. Then she whispered, thank you. Thank you. Not because she was grateful for pain. Because she was grateful someone told the truth. Tanya stood up abruptly. I need to go, she said. I didn't grab her arm. I didn't tell her what to do. I said one thing, calm. If you want, you can stay with us, I said. But you don't have to decide anything right now. Tanya nodded once and walked out. That afternoon, Derek called me 12 times. 12. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Voicemail summary, you told her. You ruined everything. If Sloane dies, it's on you. On you. He kept trying to hand me his guilt. I saved the voicemail and added it to kidney log. Then my mom called crying. My mom said, Tanya is hysterical. Hysterical. That word. It's how families describe women in pain to make them sound unreasonable. I kept my voice calm. Mom, I said, she was lied to. My mom whispered, Derek says you're jealous. Jealous. I almost laughed. Because that was the last thing this was. This was boundaries. This was ethics. This was my brother asking me to harm my own life to protect his lie. That night, Tanya showed up at my house, with her toddler asleep in a car seat. Her eyes were swollen. Marco opened the door and stepped aside. No questions. Just space. Tanya sat on my couch and whispered, "He admitted it." My chest tightened. "What did he say?" I asked gently. Tanya swallowed. "He said it was a mistake," she whispered. "He said it didn't mean anything," she whispered. And then he asked me to feel sorry for her because she's sick. Feel sorry for her. This is the complicated part. Because Sloane being sick doesn't make cheating okay. And Derek was using illness as a shield. Tanya looked at me and said, "He said you're cruel for saying no." I stared at her. "I didn't say no to Sloane," I said quietly. "I said no to being used." Tanya nodded slowly. Then she asked, "Did he really schedule the screening under your name?" I nodded. "Yes," I said. Tanya's jaw tightened. She whispered, "He's been moving money too." My stomach dropped. Tanya opened her banking app and showed me. Bank alert, $850 transfer. Memo, medical. Bank alert, $1,200. Memo, travel. Tanya whispered. "He told me it was for work. Work. Always work." Tanya looked at me and said, "I'm done. Done." Not in a dramatic way. In a tired, clear way. And I knew what was coming next. Divorce talk. Custody talk. Family blame. And Derek wasn't going to accept being the villain in his own story. He was going to try to make me the villain. And the first way he'd try would be the easiest. He'd claim I recorded him unfairly. He'd claim I spread private medical info. He'd claim I turned Tanya against him. So I made another small change. I stopped speaking in feelings. I spoke in facts. I wrote an email summary to myself with timestamps. And I saved every receipt. Because the next phase would be consequence. Not just family consequence. System consequence. And Derek had already shown he was willing to abuse systems, which meant I needed the system on my side, before he tried to twist it again. The next week was ugly. Not loud ugly. Administrative ugly. Tanya filed for separation. She asked for temporary arrangements for their toddler. Derek called it overreacting. Of course. Derek also tried to recruit family. My mom started texting Tanya. Text, "Mom to Tanya. Don't break up the family over a mistake." Mistake. A mistake is forgetting milk. This was a plan. Derek texted me again, from a new number. Text 7:18 p.m. "You can still fix this. Do the screening. I'll make it up to you. Fix this." Like my kidney was a reset button. I didn't reply. I saved it. Then the hospital called me. A nurse. Calm voice. She said, "We received a note in your file that you're unavailable for a donor screening. We want to confirm you are safe and not being pressured." Not being pressured. That sentence made me exhale, because it meant the system wasn't blind to coercion. I said, "I'm being pressured by a family member, yes. I do not consent to screening. Please document that." The nurse said, "We will. Thank you for telling us." Thank you. The system thanked me for boundaries. My own family called me selfish. That contrast mattered. Then Derek escalated. He showed up at my mom's house during a family dinner with his toddler, trying to force the family unity vibe. Tanya wasn't there. He brought the kid like a shield. He told my mom loudly, "Elena is destroying our family." I stayed calm. I said, "Derek, stop using your child as a prop." Derek's face twisted. Then he said, loud, "You don't even have to donate directly. It can be a swap. No one will know." A swap. He was now pressuring me to participate in a medical arrangement to hide cheating. I'm not giving instructions on any of that. What matters is the intent. He was trying to keep secrets alive through complexity. I looked at him and said, "Calm. This is over." My mom snapped at me. "Not here," she hissed. "Not here. Always." My mom wanted quiet more than truth. So I did the most effective thing I could do. I left. I didn't argue in a dining room. Because the next day, Tanya did something that ended Derek's narrative. She confronted Derek in front of their counselor. Not with screaming. With receipts. She showed the transfers. She showed the texts. She showed that he asked Elena to keep it secret. And Derek couldn't charm a professional the way he charmed family. The counselor said one sentence that became Tanya's anchor. "This isn't a mistake. It's a pattern." Pattern? Yes. Then karma hit Derek in the simplest way. He tried to call the transplant center to explain and smooth it over. He thought he could talk his way around documentation. But the center had already documented coercion notes. So when he called, they didn't comfort him. They shut him down. He couldn't manage that system. Then another consequence hit. Tanya's attorney requested a financial accounting. And Derek's medical and travel transfers got questioned. Not because being generous is wrong. Because it was secretive and tied to deception. Derek started panicking. And panicked people make mistakes. He sent Tanya a text he didn't mean to send. Text 11:06 p.m. Derek, if you divorce me, Sloan will die and it'll be on you. He sent it to Tanya, not me, and Tanya forwarded it to her attorney. That one text was the moment the mistake narrative died, because it showed he was still trying to weaponize guilt. Still, even after being caught. That's karma, not lightning. Pattern exposure. Then my mom called me, voice shaking. Your brother might lose everything, she whispered. I kept my voice calm. He should have thought about that before he used my kid to deliver secrets, I replied. My mom started crying. I don't recognize him, she said. And that's the truth families avoid. Sometimes the person you're protecting isn't who you think they are. A month later, Tanya moved forward with divorce. Derek moved into an apartment. And for the first time, the family stopped pressuring me to donate. Not because they respected me, because the lie was out. There was no longer a reason to donate, quietly. If Sloan needed a donor, she could pursue support honestly, through proper channels, without using my body as a cover story. And that's the line I held. Because my body isn't a bargaining chip. And a medical crisis doesn't create entitlement. Final update. It's been a year. Tanya is okay. Not happy every day, but steady. She has a clean routine with their toddler. She has peace in her home. Derek is different now. Not redeemed. Different. Quieter. Because consequences changed his options. He still blames me sometimes. I know because my mom tells me he says I overreacted. Overreacted. That's what people say when they don't want to face the size of what they asked. My relationship with my mom is lower contact. Not because I don't love her. Because she tried to make me responsible for keeping Derek's life comfortable. And I'm done being the comfort system for someone else's choices. And Sloan. I want to say this carefully. Sloan's health situation is real, and it's serious. I never celebrated her suffering. I never made her the villain. Derek's betrayal was Derek's. Sloan's health is Sloan's. What I refused was being used. Last I heard, Sloan was working with her medical team and support networks properly. I don't share details because it's not my story to expose. But I do know this. The moment Derek tried to turn kidney donation into a secrecy plan, he poisoned the process around him. Because these systems are built to detect coercion. And once coercion is documented, it changes what people can do. That's karma too. Not mystical. Structural. Here's what I learned. If someone asks you for a life-altering favor and also asks you to lie, they're not asking for love. They're asking for control. And if they involve a child to carry the secret, it's already too far. My son, Theo, doesn't talk about kidney secrets anymore. He talks about normal kid things. That's the outcome I wanted. Not revenge. Protection. And if you're listening and you're thinking, I'd never say no to someone's medical need, I understand that instinct. But donation is not an obligation. It's consent. It's your body. And your no is allowed to be complete. Here's what we learned from this story. First, a medical crisis doesn't cancel consent. Your body is not a bargaining chip. Second, if someone needs you to keep a secret to help, it isn't help. It's cover. Third, never let a child carry an adult secret. That's not protection. That's pressure. Fourth, don't fight manipulation with emotion. Fight it with receipts, timelines, and clear written boundaries. And finally, karma often looks like systems doing what families refuse to do, hold people accountable. If you like calm, realistic long story times with receipts, clear timelines, and real closure, subscribe to the channel. That's what we do here. What would you have done first? Set boundaries quietly, or tell the spouse immediately?